Welcome, Aqua Pisces, to your May Astro Dice reading. Hope you friends are doing great out there. If you friends like this, hit that big old like button and subscribe. Okay, guys, let's see what's going on with you. Best messages coming out for the month. For those of you who are new, this is where I take tarot with astrology and make a small horoscope for the month as message. Got the sun coming out. Ooh. Into the second house of money, and assets. Ooh, with some Aries energy. Nice. A little bit of fire and heat going on over here when it comes to that finances and money. Love that. But the sun over here is actually your immortal spirit. Purpose and destiny is involved, right? It's talking about this is where I'm putting myself. It's all about me when it comes to the sun. My purpose, my destiny. Doing it with some Aries energy. I actually like that energy together, actually, when it comes to the sun. Why? Because this is dynamic and spontaneous, crusading. Its impulsive action is likely to occur, meaning you're going to step up, want to take those leap of faith, right? When it's coming to what it is you desire when it comes to your second house of your assets, finances, and the things that you value. Right? So it's like, this is where I need to take control over my destiny, knowing where I need to be, seeking that balance when it comes to my money, right? Love it. Getting straight into the situation. The situation is taking place in the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and the end of the month. So let's see what's going on with you, my friends. Ooh. Straight into that beginning of the month. Show me what's going on under the sun and what's going on in that second house. Ooh, we have the Ten of Wands over here, right? There's always more than one way of doing something, right? As you're taking on these burdens and these extra responsibilities and all this hard work. It might feel like there's no end in sight right now when it comes to certain situations, when it comes to your career and finances. You guys might be really overworked right now. Everything just keeps coming and coming and coming, right? Justice. Looking for that truth and fairness. Comes to the Three of Cups. Okay. Finding that I like this though, right? Because this is actually saying, you know what, even though I'm working really hard and you know what, there might be a little bit of stress and, right, I just keep going and going and going and it feels like there's no end in sight at this time. So you might even be working on some kind of project right now, but it's all good though, right? Because there's this fairness and this truth and this clarity that's coming through this. And you kind of like know that at the end of the week, at the end of the beginning of the month, it's all going to come together where we can all celebrate. Clarifying on the situation, you have the Eight of Wands. Yeah, swiftly moving. Queen of Swords. You could have your boss over here that's telling you, yeah, but you know what? Keep going. Everything's going good, right? You could even be feeling very inspired, very artistic at this time, right? Using a lot of emotional expressions, right? But also feeling like, oh, yeah. There it is, having that stable and that power coming in. So there's a lot of focus when it comes to this money right now. So you do know that all this hard work is definitely going to pay out in the end. So, okay, and in the mid-month, right on the situation. Well, it looks like there is some teamwork within the situation. It could be a little frustrating because it could feel like somebody at work is getting away with something. It feels like they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? So, they could have some intentions that are hidden from you. So you could feel like they're holding back in some kind of situation, which therefore you feel is like trickery in its own way, right? Because it's dishonest. They're being dishonest about the situation. I'm trying to get all of this work. We're collaborating on this situation, trying to get the rewards for what we need. And you're over here, messing around. And that's really what it is. As you're preparing, and you see a lot of you know, progress, and you're moving forward over here, but it does feel like somebody over here is screwing around. I'm sorry, that's exactly what it is. Clarify on the Seven of Swords more than anything. I just want to know why they're screwing around. Information. It looks like they're withholding information. They're keeping information from you that could have been used. It's like maybe their intentions were hidden so that they could get this reward for themselves, but it just feels like, okay, why didn't you give that to me? Maybe they were thinking some kind of revenge at work. Maybe they didn't want you to have that opportunity. They're holding some kind of grudge. Something is going on, guys. Okay, where it just feels like you should have given me this information a long time ago. Why did you hold back on this? So having some kind of, needing to work on some kind of communication and trust within this area of, of work. Because it just feels like somebody is not being open and honest about this situation. How are we going to build this? How are we going to finish this project? How are we going to do these things if you're not open and honest about what's going on? And it could even be in a love situation, maybe in a love situation, because you do have the Page of Cups. You could say, why are you holding back money from me? We're supposed to be living together. If you are holding back this money and not letting me know you have a paycheck or that you got this kind of money, how are we going to pay these bills? How are we going to get these things going? Right, so take it how it resonates. It is a general reading. Okay, so there's definitely some kind of connection going on over here where somebody is not being open and honest about where the finances are or what's going on about this situation. Okay, whether it's at work or in the homestead. Causing anxiety in the end of the month with the Nine of Swords, the Six of Swords, and the Chariot in reverse. So there was some careless mistakes going on over here. Somebody is definitely focused on building themselves up or holding on to some kind of money, not participating in paying the bills, not helping within this project. Whatever it is, they're not very proactive when it comes to helping out and within this situation. Okay, and they're definitely holding back. Okay, definitely holding back, and they're not going to focus on wanting to settle this with you at this time. They're taking risks to do what they want to do, and that's pretty much risky. I'm sorry, that is risky. Because if you know that they're supposed to be helping with a bill or something and they're holding out on money, oh my God, or spending too much money, the Devil coming out, and they have some kind of shared attachment with some kind of bill or something, they're hiding something. Something is going on over here where it's making you do more of a payout than you're supposed to. So this opportunity is becoming more of a challenge. If you know that it's at work, somebody's holding out on some kind of information that needs to be shared so that you guys can get this done. Maybe they're trying to take all the credit for themselves. But you have to be, there needs to be some kind of adaptability over here. And they have to be ready to face some kind of change when it comes to this Devil energy versus the Ace of Pentacles. Right? Because you want to build a solid foundation, build this career, have this financial opportunity, pay these bills with the Ace of Pentacles. But if it's there with the Devil, it's saying no, because there's destructive behavior. Someone's holding back. They're, not being very resilient when it comes to helping out in the situation. It's out, they're out for themselves. They're out for themselves. So there needs to be some kind of loyalty and communication when it comes to this situation. Whoa. And if you know that they gave a certain project or something to somebody else who is disloyal, then there's going to be an issue. Because you're going to feel like there's some kind of loss, and you're going to feel like, but I'm going to hold on and I'm going to stay strategical about this situation. For some of you, you might even walk away from your job because you might feel like, you stepped on my shoes. You stepped on my toes. This was a stab in the back. You should never have done this. Why did that happen? That was mine. So for some of you, you might actually be walking away from a job, taking your own credit, your own personal. Yeah, I'm smart enough to know where I need to be. This is my strength. That was mine, and you should never have taken that away from me. Ooh. Definitely disrespect. Definitely some disrespect going on right there. So let's see what the angels have to say at the end of the situation. You will have success in the end of the situation. It's almost like hold tight, you know? That's just what I keep hearing, hold tight. And I see it too because of the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like let it go and do yourself, right? Because you have big, happy changes. There's other things that are going on within the situation, right? It's almost like there is warning signs all around this issue, you know, all around this, yeah, this issue, this situation. Because however you want to see this, right? In the end, you're going to be very resourceful. You know what you want and what's going to happen. It's just about getting everything back to where it needs to be. Look, you were looking to maintain it. You wanted it. Then all of a sudden, what the hell is this in the mid-month, right? It's like, whoa, hold on. I was right there. I was happy. I had everything. Everything was going my way. Then this shit, you know, popped up. And it's kind of like balancing out. Trying to balance this out. That's exactly what it is. Okay, my friends, until next time, peace and love. Bye-bye.